Good morning, this is Dr. Turner for Fundamental Mathematics. Today we're going to be covering 4.4, which is titled Dividing Using a Given Ratio. So in 4.4, we're still working with this concept of ratios, but now what's going to happen is I'm going to give you a total, and then using that ratio, you're going to break it up into two categories. So let's go ahead and just jump right into it. Let's say I give you a scenario where there's a classroom of, say, 20 students. And I tell you that the ratio of boys to girls is 2 boys to 3 girls. Question is, how many boys are in the class? How many girls are in the class? Well, there are a total of 20 students. So how I would first break this up is looking at parts, right? This is a ratio of 2 to 3, so it's 2 parts boys, 3 parts girls. If I add up those numbers, that means there's a total of 5 parts in the class, right? I could break it up into 5 different chunks. So the question is, if there's 20 students, 5 chunks or 5 parts, how many students are in each chunk? So I would take my total, divide it by the number of parts, and that's going to give me the number of students per part. So here I have 20 students. I have a total of 5 parts. 20 divided by 5 is going to give me 4 students per part or per chunk. Okay. Once I figure that number out, then I go back to my ratio. Ratio is 2 to 3, so 4 times 2 gives me 8 boys. 3 times 4 gives me 12 girls. That still follows the ratio of 2 to 3, and we could check that, what we did in 4.1 by simplifying. But 8 plus 12 gives me a total of 20, and that's how we do 4.4. Okay, let's look at another example. Lemonade recipe calls for 3 ounces of lemon juice, to 5 ounces of water. We want to make a total of 64 ounces of lemonade. The question is, how much lemon juice do I need? How much water do I need? So we're going to do the same thing. Add up the parts, 3 plus 5. That gives me 8 parts. So just like we did in number 1, I need to make a total of 64 ounces. There are 8 parts. 64 divided by 8 gives me 8 ounces per part. Once I have that number, I go back to my ratio. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 5 gives me 40. And just to double check, 24 plus 40 does give me 64 ounces, which is what I wanted. And let's do one more. I have an oil-water mixture for a science experiment that requires a 5 to 13 ratio of oil to water. And I need, let's say, 135 milliliters of a solution. Okay. 5, 13. Yeah, we can go with that. Well, here, we'll make it a little bit easier. Let's clear that out. Let's make it 108, just so the number is a little bit easier. We're trying to keep it simple here. Okay. So I do the same thing. 5 plus 13 gives me 18 parts. Take the total, 108. Divide it by the number of parts. That gives me 6 milliliters per part. Once I have that, I'm going to take that ratio, multiply it back in. 6 times 5 gives me 30 milliliters of oil. And 6 times 13 gives me 78 milliliters of water. So you're finding how many parts or how much is in each part, and then multiply that back. Remember, you can always check your work by adding the two numbers at the very end. 30 plus 78 does give me 108 milliliters. That's it for today, guys. If you have any questions, please reach out to me during office hours. Otherwise, have a good day. I will talk to you soon. Bye.